Right, the first one says express 2 over 3 minus root 7 in the form a plus root b, where a and b are integers. Alright, so that is 2 over 3 minus square root of 7. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to rationalize. We'll multiply top and bottom by the conjugate. Alright, the conjugate of the denominator. Alright, so this is 3 plus root 7, that's the conjugate, and for the top I would have also 3 plus root 7. Alright, so essentially you're just multiplying by 1, right? Because 3 plus root 7 over 3 plus root 7 is 1. Okay, so this would become, the top would become 2 bracket 3 plus root 7. The bottom would become 3 minus root 7 multiplying 3 plus root 7. Okay, so the top would go on to be 6 plus 2 root 7. That's for the numerator. Now the denominator can be expanded normally, right? We could also just write it as difference of two squares. Right, so that's a plus b times a minus b. Let me write that here. So a plus b times a minus b would always give you a squared minus b squared. All right, so difference of two squares. So if I use difference of two squares and multiply these two out, I would have a squared, which would be 3 squared, minus b squared, which would be root 7 all squared. All right, so I'll end up with 6 plus 2 root 7 over 9 minus 7. Alright, so I'll end up with 6 plus 2 root 7 over 2, or could also be written as what? 3 plus root 7. Alright, 3 plus root 7, that's the answer. The answer is C. Okay, the answer is C. That's A is 3 and B is root 7. Right, question 2 says it's quite similar to question 1. Question 2 says we should express 3 over 3 minus root 6. Alright, so we should express this in that form. Alright, so that means we need to get rid of the surd in the denominator, right? So we are going to rationalize. We're going to multiply top and bottom by conjugate of denominator. We're going to multiply top and bottom by 3 plus root 6. Alright, so the top would become 3 bracket 3 plus root 6. But the denominator would become, so we can, what we have in the denominator is the product of difference of two squares, right? So we have 3 minus root 6 times 3 plus root 6. Alright, it's very similar to what? A minus b times a plus b, which we know to give us a squared minus b squared. Right, so that means this guy here would also give us what? 3 squared minus square root of 6 squared. Alright, so the bottom would be 3 squared minus root 6 squared. So the top would simplify to 9 plus 3 root 6. The denominator will simplify to what? 9 minus 6. So we end up with 9 plus 3 root 6 over 3. Alright, so you could easily rewrite this as what? 9 over 3 plus 3 root 6 over 3 simplifies to finally 3 plus root 6. Alright, 3 plus root 6. So the answer is C. The answer is C. Right, question 3. Express 8 minus 3 root 6 over 2 root 3 plus 3 root 2. Alright. Okay, in that form. All right, so the way the question is presented, we have to rationalize. Yeah, we have to rationalize, which means we multiply the top and bottom by the LCM of by the conjugate of the denominator rather. All right, we multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. So it's going to be multiply the bottom by 2 root 3 minus 3 root 2 and top by the same thing. Right, so essentially we're not changing the value of what we originally had, and that's because you're multiplying by 1, right? A over A is 1. Anything over the same thing would give you 1, right? So we're on track. All right, so simplifying the top, we'll end up with 8 minus 3 root 6 multiplying 2 root 3 minus 3 root 2 over, then for the bottom would have 2 root 3 plus 3 root 2 times 2 root 3 minus 3 root 2. All right, so for the top we'll have to do the full on expansion, right? But for the denominator, if you look at it closely, it's actually difference of 2 squares. All right, it's very similar to A minus B times A plus B. All right, which we know to give us A squared minus B squared. All right, so that's difference of 2 squares. That means if I work with what we have in the bottom, I would have 2 root 3 or squared minus 3 root 2 squared. Okay, that's for the bottom. All right, because it's difference of 2 squares. Now for the top, let's expand. 8 times 2 root 3 would give you 16 root 3, and then 8 times minus 3 root 2 will give you minus 24 root 2. All right, then minus 3 root 6 times 2 root 3 would give me minus 6 root 18, and then minus 3 root 6 times minus 3 root 2 would give me plus 9 root 12. All right, plus 9 root 12. Let me just check my math. 16 root 3 minus 24 root 2 minus 6 root 18 and minus plus 9 root 12. Okay, good. All right, good, great. Okay, so this value here and this value here can be simplified further, right? So I'll do that in the next line for the top. All right, so if I do that, I have 16 root 3 minus 24 root 2. So let's simplify 6 root 18. So we have 6 root 18. We can write this as 6 root 9 times root 2, because 9 times 2 is 18, right? Well, root 9 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. So this is 18 root 2. So that's minus 18 root 2. We can do the same thing, all right? Because if you have 9 root 12, there's a perfect square in 12, right? That's 4. So you can write this as 9 times root 4 times root 3. And then root 4 is 2, right? Root 4 is 2. So we can write this as 18 root 3. All right, that's plus 18 root 3. All right, now for the bottom, let's do here again. Let's do 2 root 3 squared. All right, if I square that, that will be 4 times 3, which is 12. All right, that's 12. This is 12. And if I do 3 root 2 squared, all right, so that would be 9, because 3 squared is 9, right? Times 2, because root 2 squared is 2. So that's 18. So I have 12 minus 18. Okay, so we are almost at the end. Let me clear out this part quickly. Okay, good. All right, so we have simplifying the top would have 16 root 3 plus 18 root 3. 16 root 3 plus 18 root 3 would give, that should be 34, right? So that should be 34 root 3. That's 34 root 3. And then minus minus 24 minus 18 would give, that should be minus 42, right? Yes, minus 42. Right, so minus 42 root 2 over negative 6. Right, so that would be 34 root 3 over negative 6 minus 42 root 2 over negative 6. When I divide this, I'll have minus 17 over 3 root 3. And then when I divide this, I would have plus 7 root 2. Alright, so anything that gives me that, plus 7 root 2 and minus 17 root 3 over 3. Minus 17 root 3 and plus 7 root 2. Okay, I do not see that option there. Okay, so it's likely it's an error in the question, right? It's an error in the way the option was probably presented. That will be corrected, but the correct answer is minus 17 root 3 over 3 plus 7 root 2. Alright, question 4. Right. So for question 4, we have to expand. We have to expand that. Expand root 3 minus 5 root 2 multiplying root 3 plus root 2. Alright, so we have to expand that. So root 3 times root 3 would give us 3, and then root 3 times root 2 would give me plus root 6. Right, so minus 5 root 2 times root 3 will give me minus 5 root 6, and then minus 5 root 2 times root 2 would give me minus 5 times 2. Alright, because root 2 times root 2 is 2. Alright, so this becomes 3, well, minus 4 root 6, and then minus 10. Alright, so I'll end up with minus 7 minus 4 root 6 minus 7 minus 4 root 6. We're asked to find Q. So if I compare this to P plus Q root 6, Q is going to be minus 4. Q is going to be minus 4. Alright, question 5 says, if 5 over root 2 minus root 8 over 8 is equal to m root 2, where m is a constant, find m. Okay, so we'll just simplify what we have on the left side and see what we end up with. Alright, so we have 5 over root 2 minus root 8 over 8. Okay, so the I would rather rationalize first, right? So let's rationalize 5 over root 2 and rewrite it, then before we now start the work. So the conjugate of root 2 is root 2, right? So multiply top and bottom by root 2, and we end up with 5 root 2 over 2. Alright, so we have 5 root 2 over 2, then minus root 8 over 8. Oh, we can also simplify root 8 here. Root 8 can be simplified to, can be better written as root 4 times root 2, and root 4 is 2, so this is just 2 root 2. Okay, so let me just scratch that and write this as 2 root 2, then we can begin. Alright, so let's begin. The LCM of 2 and 8 is 4. The LCM of 2 and 8 is 8. My apologies. So the LCM of 2 and 8 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so we have 4 bracket 5 root 2. And then 8 divided by 8 is 1, so minus 1 bracket 2 root 2. Alright, so this gives me 20 root 2 minus 2 root 2 over 8. This presents, that's 18 root 2 over 8. Alright, so if I compare 18 root 2 over 8 to m root 2, that means that m is what? 18 over 8, right? let's simplify 18 over 8 and see what we end up with. We're going to have, that's going to be 2 whole number 2 over 8, which is 2 whole number 1 over 4, right? So m is 2 whole number 1 over 4. That's option D. Option D. All right, question 6. If root x plus root x plus 1 is equal to square root of 2x plus 1. Alright, find the possible value of x. Alright, so we'll start by squaring both sides. Alright, so I'm going to square everything here and then square everything here. On this side, I'll just have 2x plus 1. Alright, because the square will cancel out the square root, right? And I'll have that. But on this other side, where I have a binomial, let's do that. That will be x root x plus square root of x plus 1 times root x plus square root of x plus 1. Alright, so root x times root x would give me x. Then root x times that would give me plus square root of x times square root of x plus 1. Alright, then root x plus 1 times x would give me plus root x times square root of x plus 1. And of course, finally, root x plus 1 times root x plus 1 will just give me x plus 1. Right, so let's still simplify this. I would have this here and this here will add up to be 2 root x times square root of x plus 1. Alright, and then this here and that there will add up to be 2x plus 1. Right, so let's do that. So this would be 2 root x plus 1 plus 2x plus 1. Right, so I'll take 2x plus 1 over to the other side and I'll have 2 root x times root x plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 1 minus 2x minus 1. Right, so it's just 0 on the other side, right? So I have 2 root x times root x plus 1. Alright, so the next thing I'll do is I'll divide both sides by 2. I would have root x times square root of x plus 1 is equal to 0. So at this point, you know that if two things multiply to give you 0, one of them must be 0, right? So that means that it's either root x is equal to 0 or square root of x plus 1. Square root of x plus 1 must be 0. When I solve this, I would have square both sides, I'll have x is equal to 0. When I solve this, I'll have x plus 1 is equal to 0. So that means x is equal to negative 1. So my solutions are 0 or negative 1. Alright, x can either be 0 or negative 1. That's option A. Alright. So that's for question 6. Alright, question 7 says we should rationalize that. Alright, so rationalize 1 over square root of 2 plus 1. So I'll multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. I'll be multiplying top and bottom by square root of 2 minus 1, square root of 2 minus 1. Alright, so the top would just be 1 bracket square root of 2 minus 1. But then the bottom, alright, you could expand it, but if you look closely, you see that it's actually just difference of 2 squares. Yeah, it's actually just a plus b times a minus b. And we know that difference of 2 squares would always give you what? A squared minus b squared, right? Rather, difference of 2 squared, a squared minus b squared can be written the way this is. So that means that if I have square root of 2 plus 1 times square root of 2 minus 1, then my answer will be square root of 2 squared minus 1 squared. Alright, so this is basically square root of 2 squared minus 1 squared. Alright, my top remains root 2 minus 1 over root 2 squared is 2 minus 1. So that's just root 2 minus 1 over 1. or root 2 minus 1. Better root 2 minus 1. So the correct option is option D. Option D is the correct option. Alright, let's go question 8. Number 8. Simplify all of that. Okay, so that's 1 over 2 minus square root of 3 plus 2 over 2 plus square root of 3 with power of negative 1. Alright, so I'm going to do everything within the bracket first. Yeah, so I'll just take this as a add into fractions. So I'll get the LCM. The LCM of both, the LCM of denominators, which is the product of denominators, right? So 2 minus root 3 and then 2 plus root 3. Alright, and so when I divide and multiply, I would have 1 multiplying what 2 plus root 3 plus 2 multiplying 2 minus square root of 3, right? And then all of this raised to the power of negative 1. So if I multiply out the denominator, I'll have difference of 2 squares, right? Just looking at it, because it's some replica of a minus b times a plus b, giving you what? A squared minus b squared. That means that this should be, I have applying the same logic, right? If I have 2 minus root 3 multiplying 2 plus square root of 3, I would have 2 squared minus root 3 squared. Okay, so and that will be 4 minus 3. That will be 4 minus 3. All right. So you could also multiply this out, but it's just cool you learn that difference of 2 squares, how to go from the left hand side to the right hand side, or if you spot the right hand side, go back to the left hand side. It's going to save you time, and there are actually some questions that you probably wouldn't be able to solve without knowing this, and it pops up everywhere. Math, further math, different topics, just the same idea. Okay. All right, so for the top, let's simplify. If I expand that, I would have 2 plus root 3 plus, when I expand this, I'll have 4 minus 2 root 3 raised to the power of negative 1. Alright, so this would become, my top would become 6 minus root 3 over 1, or raised to the power of negative 1. Okay, now if you're familiar with Surds, laws of indices, laws of exponents, you will realize that this negative 1 here just means you should flip, right? So this will just be this replica of what? 1 over 6 minus root 3. Alright, 1 over 6 minus root 3. So that's what we have. I won't spot that particular solution in any of the options because it's not rationalized. Okay, so we don't keep our answers. So we don't keep our answers with Surds in the bottom, right? So we have to go do that work again. So that would be, we have to do, let me use a different pen. We have to do 1 over 6 minus root 3. Alright, so to rationalize this, you have to multiply top and bottom by what? The conjugate of the denominator, right? Which is 6 plus root 3. Alright, so multiply top and bottom by 6 plus root 3. So the top will just give me, 6 plus root 3. Alright, but the bottom would be difference of 2 squares. Again, just the same exact idea, right? So because this is a minus b times a plus b, which will give me some type of a squared minus b squared. So this would just be 6 squared minus what? Square root of 3 squared. Alright, so this would just be 6 plus root 3 over 36 minus 3. That's 6 plus root 3 over 33. Alright, 6 plus root 3 over 33. Alright, or we could rewrite as 1 over 33 times 6 plus root 3. Alright, so the answer is, correct option here is A. Right, correct option here is A. Okay, so question 9, we have this. We have, let me write it out. We have 1 plus 2 root 3 squared minus 1 minus 2 root 3 squared, and we're asked to simplify it. Alright, this is the difference of 2 squared. Alright, so what we have here is we have a squared, alright, where a is 1 plus 2 root 3 minus b squared, alright, where b is 1 minus 2 root 3. And we know this can always be written as a plus b multiplying a minus b. Alright, so I rewrite this as this plus this, so it's going to be 1 plus 2 root 3 plus 1 minus 2 root 3, then multiplying a minus b. Alright, so let me put a minus b. This will be 1 plus 2 root 3, then minus what? 1 minus 2 root 3. Alright, so what do I have here? In this one, 2 root 3 will cancel out minus 2 root 3, so I'll be left with just 2 from the first bracket. And then from the second bracket, well, let me simplify the second bracket quickly. This will be 1 plus 2 root 3 minus 1 minus 1 plus 2 root 3, yes. Alright, so 1 minus 1 and 1 will cancel out, so I'll just be left with 2 root 3 plus 2 root 3, which gives me 4 root 3. Alright, so when I multiply this, I have 8 root 3. Alright, so it was a very simple approach we used. Now you could have chosen to expand each of them and then subtract and all of that, that's fine, but it's easier to just recognize that this is actually a squared minus b squared. Okay, so that's for question 9. Let's go to question 10. Alright, so question 10 says we should simplify that. Okay, so there are multiple ways to approach this. And I think, okay, let me just go the regular route. Yeah, so this is 1 over 1 minus root 3. Alright, minus root 3 squared. Alright, so let me square that 1 minus root 3. Alright, so sorry, my 1 is somewhere to the side, so let me put it in the middle. Okay, so if I expand that, I would have 1 over 1 minus 2 root 3 plus 3. Alright, that would be 1 over 4 minus 2 root 3. Alright, the next thing is we need to rationalize, so I'll multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. I'll multiply top and bottom by 4 plus 2 root 3. Alright, multiplying that gives me 4 plus 2 root 3 on top, and at the bottom I can use difference of 2 squares, okay, because I have a minus b times a plus b would give me a squared minus b squared. So when you compare it to what we have in the denominator, we have it's going to be 4, that's a squared, 4 squared minus what? 2 root 3 squared, that's a squared minus b squared. So this becomes 4 plus 2 root 3 over 16 minus, alright, and 2 root 3 squared would be 12, 16 minus 12. Alright, so I'll continue here, please. So it's going to be 4 plus 2 root 3 over 4. 4 over 4 plus 2 root 3 over 4 leaves us with 1 plus root 3 over 2, or 1 plus half root 3. That's option A. Alright, so let's take question 11. Question 11 says 3 plus root 48, or root 3 plus root 48 divided by root 6. So let's do that together. So that's root 3 plus root 48 divided by root 6. Alright, so the first thing I'll do is I'll rewrite the root 48, right? Because I know it can be simplified. I can rewrite square root of 48 as square root of 16 times square root of 3, that's 4 root 3. Alright, so this would be root 3 plus 4 root 3 over root 6. So this becomes 5 root 3 over root 6. Can be written as 5 square root of 3 over 6. all right, which is going to be 5 over root 2. Now we can rationalize, multiply top and bottom by root 2. You end up with 5 root 2 over 2. Right? So the answer is D. Right? Again, as with most math problems, there are multiple approaches that you could have used. All right, but I think this is the easiest. So whenever you find a sort that can be simplified, simplify it first before you proceed to do anything at all. All right, simplify it first before you proceed to do anything at all. All right, that's for question 11. All right, so let's take on question 12. Okay, question 12 says to simplify root 3 plus root 3 over root 3 minus 1 rather plus root 3 over root 3 plus 1. So we can take the LCM, right? Denominator would give us root 3 minus 1, the product times root 3 plus 1. Alright, so we divide and then we multiply. I'm going to have root 3 would multiply root 3 plus 1, then plus what? Root 3 will multiply root 3 minus 1. Okay, I'm making progress. Expand top, I would have 3 plus root 3, right? Because that's root 3 times root 3 is 3, and then root 3 times 1 is root 3. Then I would also have plus 3 minus root 3. Okay, so same thing, right? So root 3 times root 3 is 3, but then root 3 times minus 1 is minus root 3. And then when I expand the denominator, I have root 3 times root 3 is, oh, it's difference of two squares actually, right? It's a minus b times a plus b. I can always write as what? A squared minus b squared. Alright, so this would be root 3 times root 3 would give me, okay, so let me just do a squared minus b squared. Right, so my top, I'll just be left with 6. Why? Because this will cancel out this, so 6. And the bottom I'll be left with 3 minus 1. That will be 6 over 2. My final answer is just 3. That's option B. Option B is 3. Alright, so that's for question 12. Let's go question 13. Let's go question 13. Okay, question 13 is the same as question 12. Okay, so let's go question 14. Says to simplify. Alright, so if we're going to simplify that, I mean, we have to rationalize. So I'll have 1 plus root 8 divided by 3 minus root 2 will be multiplied by 3 plus root 2. 3 plus root 2. So multiply top and bottom by the denominator. Right? Multiply top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. Alright, so expanding this, I would have the top would be 1 plus root 8 multiplying 3 plus root 2. Then denominator would be 3 minus root 2 times 3 plus root 2. Okay, so let's get the expansion for the top. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times root 2 is root 2. And then root 8 times 3 is 3 root 8. And then root 8 times root 2 is root 16. Alright, my bottom is difference of two squares. My bottom is just difference of two squares, so that's simple enough, right? So I have a minus b, alright, times a plus b. So that will just be a squared minus b squared. So what I will have here will just be 3 squared minus square root of 2 squared. Alright, so what do I have at the top? Alright, so I have 3 plus root 2 plus, so we can simplify 3 root 8 actually. Alright, because root 8 can be written as root 4 times root 2. That will be 3 times 2 times root 2. That will be 6 root 2. Alright, so that will be 6 root 2. And then root 16 is just what? 4. Right? Over 9 minus 2. Alright, because 3 squared is 9 and 2 squared is 2. Alright, I would pick up here. Sorry. So my numerator will become 7 plus 7 root 2 and over 7. That will be 7 over 7 plus 7 root 2 over 7, 1 plus root 2. Figure, I end up with 1 plus root 2. That's option A. That's option A. Alright, let's take question 15. Question 15. We have simplify 3 root 3 plus root 12 over root 2 times 3 root 2. Alright, so we can simplify root 12. Alright, root 12 can be written as root 4 times root 3, which is just 2 root 3, right? So we have 3 root 3 plus 2 root 3 over, okay, now multiplying denominator is just going to be 3 times 2, right? Because root 2 times root 2 is 2. So we have 5 root 3 over 6. 5 root 3 over 6, that's option D. That's option D, that's it for question 15. Let's see 16. Alright, question 16. We are asked to simplify 1 minus 2 square root of 5 over 2 plus 3 square root of 2. Alright, so I'll be multiplying top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. Multiplying top and bottom by 2 minus 3 root 2. 2 minus 3 root 2. Alright, so for the top, I'll have to do the whole expansion. 1 minus 2 root 5. Alright, times 2 minus 3 root 2. For the denominator, I think I can get away with difference. Yes, difference of 2 squares, right? Because it's actually a plus b, alright, times a minus b. And we know this always gives us a squared minus b squared. So that means that my denominator is just going to be 2 squared minus 3 root 2 or squared. Now for my numerator, 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times minus 3 root 2 is minus 3 root 2. Minus 2 root 5 times 2 would give me minus 4 root 5. And minus 2 root 5 times minus 3 root 2 is going to be plus 6 root 10. Alright. The bottom would be 4 minus 18, right? Because that would be 9 times 2, yes, 4 minus 18. And my top is 2 minus 3 root 2 minus 4 root 5 plus 6 root 10. So I'll end up with negative 1 over 14 times all of that, right? Times all of that. Times 2 minus 3 root 2 minus 4 root 5 plus 6 root 10. Alright, that's good. Options. Okay, so in the options, they took care of the negative sign. Okay, so I can rewrite it as 1 over 14, then multiply through by minus 1, right? Inside everything in the bracket. So I guess I could rewrite it as 3 root 2 positive first, then plus 4 root 5 also positive, and I cannot put the minus 2 and minus 6 root 10. Alright. So that will be option C. Alright, that will be option C. Alright, so that's it for question 16. 17 now. Okay, so 17 says the square root of 128 over square root of 32 minus 2 root 2. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is want to simplify. Alright, square root of 128 can be written as square root of 64 times square root of 2, right, which would just be 8 root 2. Alright, so that's 8 root 2 on top. My denominator can be square root of 32 can be written as square root of 16 times square root of 2. That's 4 root 2. Okay, so 4 root 2. Alright, that's root 32, right? Then minus 2 root 2. Okay, so it all simplifies nicely because I have 8 root 2 over 2 root 2. That's just 8 over 2 because root 2 would cancel out, right? That's just 4. So the answer is B. right? Again, if you went to rationalize without, instead of simplifying, you would have just gone round and round and round, and well, if you have great accuracy, you probably arrive at the same answer, but then you would have wasted a lot of time. All right, so let's take question 18. Question 18 says we have 5 plus 3, rather root 5 plus 3 over 4 minus square root of 10, and we have to simplify. So we would multiply both top and bottom by the conjugate of the denominator to rationalize. So multiply here by 4 plus root 10 and multiply the top also by 4 plus root 10. All right, so let's see. My top would look like this. Root 5 plus 3 times 4 plus root 10. I will expand that. And then my denominator will be difference of 2 squares. Right? It's going to be difference of 2 squares. So it's going to be, because I have a minus b multiplying a plus b, right? So that would always be what? A squared minus b squared. Right? So this would just be 4 squared minus root 10 squared. Alright, so let's expand the top. 4 root 5 plus root 50 plus 12 and then plus 3 root 10 over 16 minus 10. Okay, now I think I can simplify root 50 here. Very important. Root 50 can be simplified to root 25 times root 2. That will just be what? 5 root 2. Alright, so 5 root 2. So let me write this as 4 root 5 plus 5 root 2 plus 12 plus 3 root 10 over 6. So that will be 4 root 5 over 6 plus 5 root 2 over 6 plus 12 over 6 and then plus 3 root 10 over 6. So the first will simplify to 2 over 3 root 5 plus the next will be 5 over 6 root 2 plus 2 and plus 1 over 2 root 10. Alright, 1 over 2 10. So that should be the final answer. So 2 over 3 root 5 plus 5 over 6 root 2 plus 1 over 2 root 10 plus 2. Okay, that's option B. Option B is the correct one. Option B is the correct one. Alright, so we've come to the end of the further math questions for Surds. Alright, so good luck in your exam prep and bye bye.